In this video, I'm going to show you the third way to change your top view, or to do a top view cut. This is a little more advanced, it's a little more difficult. At the same time, if you watch the video and you pause me and you start, stop, try to do the operations, things don't work out, edit, undo, try again, it will work for you, but it's just a little more advanced. So, coming in, the way that I'm going to do this, and this is the part that I was talking about in an earlier video where I wanted to keep the bottom because I wanted to try to create an arc in my view. I'm going to go to my half view modeling for right now. And what I'm talking about here is orbiting to the bottom side. And in the bottom side, what I want to be able to do here is I want to be able to draw an arc that I want to end up pulling through my model, so I create an arc instead of a straight line there, unlike my last videos where I showed two different methods that were kind of different, that just showed you how to cut and push-pull. Now, what I'm going to do starting out is I'm going to use the 2-point arc tool, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to click on an edge, and I'm going to click on the front portion of my car wherever I want this arc to stop. Remember, we can't cut underneath the axle holes. That's one of the important parts, or away from the CO2 car cartridge holder. And then from there, I bend back towards the middle. Remember, as we bend back here, 18 is probably a good number as far as millimeters to go back. 19 at most, because we're making a very thin car that way. And most likely it's going to be prone to snap, but at the same time, be competitive if you want to be. I'm going to go 18, hit enter on my last step there. Now, one of the things I noticed is that my arc didn't go the right way there. As far as when I orbit through, it went up instead of on the bottom surface. So I'm going to edit, undo, and I'm just going to try that one more time. This time coming in, clicking, and once again clicking on the front, and then kind of going down. And it was grabbing that top portion before. I think that's what was wrong there. So I'm going to kind of orbit to the bottom and make sure it's going on the bottom that way. And then hit my 18. And I think I went 2 for 2 of making a mistake in front of you. And I did. So, one more time, edit, undo. Third time's a charm. Clicking on the edge. Clicking on the edge. Making sure that I have both those selections done correctly. And I do. And then sliding down. And I'm going to try to just make it snap to 18. Because now, where the line exists right here is in the right spot. You can tell because it's darker black. 18.1. I can always adjust after I click. I can enter another piece of data and it would change that. But 18.1 is fine for me. Now I have that bottom surface to be able to do a push-pull through the top. So I'm going to kind of orbit where I can see the bottom surface, but I can start to see the front view also. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push-pull this up. So going to the push-pull tool, I click, I slide up. It will only let you slide up until you interact with another surface, and it stops it. So this is where we have to push the control key. The control key allows us to create things through, and I want to make sure that I orbit and push through all my model. I'm going to zoom out just to make sure that I am. And then click. Now, what we've done is we've kind of created some surfaces that go all the way along there, added some extra stuff, and we have to do some extra things to delete that now, and deselect, or I guess get rid of the things we don't want. So now I come in, and I do a triple click of my model. What that does is it makes everything turn blue. After I triple click, the next thing I'm going to do is do a right click, and then I'm going to do an intersect faces with model. And what this does is it creates lines and points wherever there's two, I guess, surfaces interacting with each other or coming together. From there, we are ready to start deleting. And this is kind of a little bit complicated too. We can do it with the selection tool and the delete key, or we can use the eraser tool to click and drag through. And then you may see some things that you got to kind of delete. This is just from my front view. Extra portions I didn't quite get there. Maybe this inside portion that isn't going away right now, but I'll show you how to delete that later. And then I'm going to go to the bottom view, kind of look straight up at it, and then I'm also going to click and drag through here. And then right here. Oh, edit, undo. I deleted too much. I noticed that by looking at it. And one thing to do is always pay attention to your last deletes, because if you end up messing up or deleting a surface you didn't want to delete, you can always go back and edit, undo it. trim these things away. Make sure we're doing it carefully. Any extra stuff that we may have. I think I have a little extra one right here. But just kind of zoom around, make sure we have everything taken out that we should. Now the one thing that's giving me a problem is this middle section right here. It kind of added the surface back and it won't let me delete it with my eraser tool. So I'm going to use the select tool to select that and then use the delete key. I'm not sure why that works and the eraser tool doesn't, but it does. So that's the last example. It's a little more difficult. I am going to try to do a pencil car, Mr. Hahn's favorites, and do a video for that next, but I think that's even a little more complicated. But once again, competitive. So I hope the video helps. Once again, pause, stop, try it, edit, undo if things don't go right. If you notice you delete surfaces, edit, undo to get back to where you were before. And lastly, make sure we always do a file save to get where we're going. Thanks for watching the video.